Hello, nerds. I am here this evening with Connie Jacobson.
Hello!
From Chicago. I know, two Americans in Auckland. It's pretty cool.
I'm enjoying myself so
Are
far.
you enjoying yourself so far?
Yeah.
Well, tonight, yeah, I don't know, that doesn't sound very convincing.
I mean, I guess.
Have you seen any Hobbits? I haven't seen any Hobbits yet.
One on the bus,
I
actually.
saw a Hobbit on the bus.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a little odd, and she was a little disheveled, so I just decided to look the other way.
Oh.
Yeah, didn't want to meet her.
I haven't seen any Hobbits yet. That's okay, because I, have a huge problem with feet. So Hobbit feet, really, really disturb me.
Yeah. I only like my feet, so...
You only like your feet?
Yeah, I think my feet are kind of cute.
I don't even look at my feet. I just don't like feet. And I know that I have decent feet, but I just don't, I don't like feet.
I'll keep my feet away from you.
Yeah. They disturb me. Kind of like, I think maybe our show tonight, a Pitchfork Disney, might have disturbed you.
A lot of it. A lot of it.
A lot of it.
A lot of it, yeah.
I believe that the phrase you said afterwards was, I feel like my mind has been
If I ever had to known the feeling of being effed, this would be the reason as to why it would be that way.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
A Pitchfork Disney. Absolutely. So, a little bit about A Pitchfork Disney. We saw it this evening here in Auckland, and it was with the Moving Theater Company, and they were presenting it at this really awesome theater space here in Auckland called the Q Theater. We were up in their loft space, which I just have to talk about, walking into the space.
Yeah.
It was really cool. You had to go up these stairs, and they just had, newspapers, trash, just all kinds of stuff. I mean, setting, the mode from the minute you enter this staircase, to get a feeling. Have you experienced, now I know you've seen some theater, but have you experienced anything like that before in your theater?
No. It's all just been in, an assembly hall or kind of an auditorium kind of thing, so nothing this extreme.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Yes. So, winner. So we walk into the loft space, and they had, the parents' bedroom kind of set up, again, really disheveled, and this girl, hunkered down in the corner, so...
Oh, yeah, in the tornado position.
Yeah.
Hands overhead.
Yeah.
Ducked.
Absolutely. And you kind of don't realize for a second that she was there, and then you kind of register.
I thought it was a statue.
Yeah.
It literally did, until the very end.
Yeah.
But...
And then on the other side was kind of a kitchen that was also writing on the wall, wallpaper peeling, just, a mess. It was a mess.
Yeah.
So then you walk into the space, and the space has this huge glass wall that looks over Queen Street, which is one of the main streets in Auckland, city center. And they've, covered it all over with, just masses of newspaper kind of taped up on the glass, and then
on the windows, yeah.
Yeah, and then dirty sheets kind of pulled.
Oh yeah.
And then there's furniture just kind of piled, and it's just, a house in disuse, essentially.
Yeah. It looks like what do they call it when no one's lived there? Abandoned house.
Yeah.
I feel like there's another word for it too.
Yeah.
But yeah, an abandoned house.
An abandoned house.
Yeah.
That's been inhabited by, you're looking at it thinking by children, because they've got, when you're kids, you always pull all the furniture in the house and make a fort in the middle of the living room, and that's what you've got. You've got, mattresses against the wall, kind of I don't know if you're friends with this, but we'd have big old wrestling matches, and we just put mattresses. I know.
Sorry,
okay.
Not a Chicago thing.
It's just a West Texas thing.
We did do the forts, though, with the sheet and the chair and the poles.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, we did do that.
So, so it looks like, maybe a couple of kids are inhabiting this abandoned space, and then our seats, which I thought was really cool, and I wonder if it's something that they always do, or if it was just for the show, but it was, instead of your normal theater seating, it was a bunch of, couches and recliners and different kitchen chairs and all kinds of stuff lined up.
They went to thrift stores.
Yeah, they might have gone to some thrift stores, and they did all of that to say, they did a really good job of giving us an atmosphere.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely. It was the homey feel, because you got to sit in the comfier chairs, not just the auditorium chair, and so it really kind of made the mood, like you said.
Yeah, absolutely. So now we come into the space and we sit down. What are you thinking you're going to see?
From this picture, I'm thinking there's like blood and guts, and I'm just not even knowing what I'm going to see. But I wasn't thinking like, oh, kids. And when I heard the name Pitchfork Disney, I was literally like, this is going to ruin my picture of fairy tales. And it's going to literally put a pitchfork through Disney. And I'm like, well, I'm going to just be upset for the rest of the night. Yeah, so I didn't want to read too much because I just wanted to let the play kind of happen and then see where I went from there. But I was definitely a little terrified when I saw the playbill.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a little, I guess it could be kind of a disturbing picture. But then our first, past the scenic setup, our first moment in the play is just this very petite but grown woman riding on a tricycle. On the tricycle, like around and around the space. And so that being said, I think that the Moving Theater Company did this and I've never seen another version of the Pitchfork Disney. Of course, I've heard the name, but I've never seen it or read it. And so I don't know if this is something that normally happens with this production, but either way, like either brilliant just choice from the writer or a brilliant choice from the director, but I was immediately drawn in. Just from, right off the top.
Yeah, I was just wondering why. Like, when I read about how it was about kids, like, I could feel the childness atmosphere beginning to take forth, and I knew they had to be younger. And then we'll get into ages later. But I definitely was wondering about the whole tricycle and this little looking girl riding along.
This very small woman.
Yeah, it definitely led me wanting to know, like, okay, let's get this play started. I want to see what this is going to be like.
Right. Yeah. Well, one of the things, of course, when you sit down in a theater, you have your playbill, and I kind of just went through real fast, did just a quick read through it, and I just kind of, if you're not familiar with the Pitchfork Disney, I wanted to read this because I thought the company did a really good job of kind of talking about why they wanted to do this show and without telling you like detail to detail what it's about, letting you know what it's about. They said, our desire to tackle this work was born out of the strong belief that the Pitchfork Disney speaks to such contemporary nightmares, ailments, and anxieties that Ridley's imagined world seemed almost prophetic. Ancient children paralyzed by terror and an ever-expanding world in crisis, fear of foreigners, our lust for modern-day freak shows, and crucifixions in the form of reality TV and celebrity meltdowns, and the notion that we can fix it all with medication. And I think, I feel like throughout their production, they really did manage to address.
They nailed every single one. Yeah. I didn't catch the medication part. Like, I didn't really think about that as the play went on and as it finished until you read that, and I was like, I didn't really think about that.
Yeah.
So that was cool.
Yeah, because, I mean, throughout the thing, they're constantly on sleeping pills and this, numbing mom and dad's medicine. Yeah.
You never really know what it is.
Yeah, you never do. The play really does leave you kind of with a lot of fill-in-the-blanks for yourself, as well as give you some really interesting answers, along the way. So, all right, so atmosphere. Check. I want to talk about with you the acting. How did the acting affect you?
How did it affect me? It was just the main character was like this male, and I know we talked about it, and he was just outstanding because he had so many monologues where he was just by himself talking to this other actor, and the way he was able to perform his emotions and so strongly, it really didn't feel like, oh, this guy was like scripted, a year ago or something.
Yeah.
And so you could feel the energy just like coming out of him as he was saying all of his lines and everything. So I thought it was really good. And everything that they were doing with the girl, like the female and the male actor, they were just unbelievably passionate about everything that they were saying. And so it really kind of made me feel like I was just like almost watching life happen instead of watching a play, which I feel is most important. I don't know too many play things, but I feel like that would be a good quality to have in a play.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, instead of feeling like you're watching something scripted, it's like natural happening.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would say that the actors in this, let me just give them a shout out. We had Presley Stray, played by Todd Emerson, Haley Stray, played by Michelle Blundell, Cosmo Disney by Leon Wadham. I'm going to say it's Wadham. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. And Pitchfork Cavalier, played by Sam Snedden. His character was really creepy. Yeah. But I agree with you that Todd Emerson, who played Presley, great acting. He really reminded me of a young Alan Cummings. He had just this great mix of innocence and neuroses and complete commitment to what he was saying and what he was feeling.
His character.
In his character, absolutely.
He was completely involved.
Completely.
And engrossed in everything.
Yeah. And I don't know if you noticed this, but there was these certain parts. He was sitting on the chair talking to Cosmo. Uh-huh. And it's like the little, because he kind of had, even though the character's 28 years old, there's a child. They're stuck in this kind of child life. And their voices kind of reflect that a little bit in the way that they speak in this kind of like childlike heightened language, fairy tale language, basically. But when he's talking to Cosmo a little bit there, he loses it and he sounds like a man. Did you find that moment where he kind of like, he went totally into his like man voice and you realize that he is a 28-year-old man? And then it's like he went back into his kid voice again. Like, and it felt very like intentional, like not intentional, like it came across that way. It worked really naturally within the moment. But I could tell that this was an actor using his technique. So for me, that was like really, these were actors who made
their stuff.
Yeah, and they made me want to act. Like I was like, oh my gosh, they made me miss acting more than I've already been missing it. And I would say that, that's one thing I have to give to Auckland. Like every single performance I've tonight and everything I've seen up to this evening has just been incredible acting. I haven't seen one performance where I was like, I really hated that. It's been so strong. And I'm really impressed with whatever training actors here are doing.
Yeah. I didn't know. I mean, New Zealand on the map is so far, and I didn't know it could be on the map for acting. But yeah, it was definitely one of the better plays compared to the Wagon Wheel. So,
sorry, Wagon Wheel in Indiana, not quite me.
You gotta step up your game.
Do some Pitchfork Disney. It's totally your style.
Seriously. Oh,
yes.
Sorry, the other tenor, the tenor. Something about a tenor.
Lend Me a Tenor?
Yes.
Oh, is that what you said? We were talking about shows that, because I always like to ask, what kind of theater have you seen before I take someone to see something like Pitchfork Disney? And so far Connie's seen, a lot of the traveling stuff like Wicked, and then she's seen some stuff at a theater in Indiana called The Wagon Wheel, and they did Lend Me a Tenor, which is this great farcical comedy set in the 20s.
Hilarious.
Great.
Oh my God.
Very funny. Totally different from what I took her to see tonight. Okay, so great acting. I have to share this moment too because I think it was a great mix of acting / directing, and I was kind of watching you during this moment because I could start feeling it, and then I just really wanted to see your reaction.
Okay.
So the whole play, not the whole play, but towards the end of the play, you finally get introduced to the fourth and final character, who is Pitchfork Cavalier, and he's got this mask that covers his face, and Cosmo sets it up as we do these performances and this man's face is so ugly that all I have to do is have him sing this song in this horrible creepy voice and then take his mask off, and even though the audience is saying no, I don't want to see it, really the human psyche is that we really want to see it. So we're living under this threat that this mask is going to come off and we're going to have horrible nightmares for a week. Mm-hmm. And obviously the character Presley is also terrified of this. And so one of the final, not the final, but towards the final moments of the play, Presley is sitting up on this couch, all pulled up into the corner,
hurtled into the corner.
and protecting his sister who's just been strangely molested by Cosmo.
Oh God.
Yeah. And,
yikes.
Yeah. And this character, because the brother, to protect his sister, kind of beats up Cosmo and sends him on his way, and so in comes, Pitchfork, who's this big, scary, masked man.
Like the bodyguard.
Yeah, like like a scary bodyguard.
Yeah.
And the music gets real dark and the lighting gets real dark, and you're like, oh my God, like we've already had this weird, like, finger rape, basically, happen on stage. There's going to be a murder. And he gets, like, really, 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 really close. And I can just see you, like, you're, like, closing into yourself. Like, if you'd had a blanket, it would have been, like, over your head. And he just creeps in and he grabs the jacket that Cosmo left and just says, boo. Like, just boo.
And, like, gets this close.
Yeah,
too.
Exactly. It just says boo.
Boo.
Yeah. And it was the most, like, the whole audience, and especially you, just all went, like,
oh, that's it. Oh, okay.
Oh, my God.
It's not going to be bad.
But it was perfect, because it also made this point that we kind of wanted to, it's
see
like you
something
don't want to
bad.
see it, but you do want to see it, and then it's like your anxiety and your conscience are, like, let off the hook, because he just gets really close to him and says, boo. So for me, it was rewarding just to have, like, taken you to see the show and, like, to have you, I didn't know at that point if you liked the play or didn't like the play, but that you, in a live theater setting, could have such a visceral, strong, involved reaction to what was going on stage. For me, I was just like, this is why. This is why live theater. Yeah, like, this is that was the freaking jackpot of theater and of taking people to see theater for me.
Good.
Yeah.
I know, I'm glad I saw this one.
Yay! I need my rattle.
Where's Cooper's rattle?
I know, where's Cooper's rattle? So, thank you so much for coming to see the show.
Yeah.
If you are in Auckland, you absolutely need to do yourself a favor and go, I need to pull it back, right? And go see a Pitchfork Disney. It is playing over at the Q Theater, and it is quite an experience.
How long?
Let's see. It says that
I don't know if they have a length on it.
You can check them out. You can go to the Google Q Theater New Zealand. Google. I'll put
when all else fails.
Yeah, and I'll put the link on here. And I'm hoping that on Theatrical with a Nerd. And I'm hoping that in the year that I'm here, I'll get to see another piece of theater by this company, the Moving Theater Company, because I just thought that they were so strong and fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm hoping that you, going back to Chicago, will now, like, dive into this world of seeing kind of more, Wicked's great. I'm not taking away from the awesomeness of Wicked, but seeing this kind of theater.
Yeah.
So.
I know. It'll be good. I'll definitely take you up on the Chicago theaters.
Yes. Yes, and Chicago people that I know, I'm sending this lady your way. So she's going to come see you guys do some schmacting. Schmacting. Awesome. All right. All right. Well, thank you very much, guys, for tuning in. Again, if you're in Auckland, check out a Pitchfork Disney. If you're in the United States, check it out. Something. Go see some theater this weekend. All right. Good night. Say goodbye.